Questions and answers from the story The Dog of Tithwal. What is the setting of the Dog of Tithwal? Tithwal, a border town during the India-Pakistan War. Who are the primary soldiers in the story? Jamadar Harnam Singh, Indian, and Subedar Himmat Khan, Pakistani. What initially attracts soldiers' attention on both sides? A stray dog wandering between Indian and Pakistani lines. What do Indian soldiers name the dog? They name the dog Junjun. What do Pakistani soldiers rename the dog? They rename it Shun Shun. What do soldiers debate regarding the dog? They debate the dog's nationality, either Indian or Pakistani. How do soldiers interact with the dog? They fire bullets near it to direct its movements. Who decides to shoot the dog? Subedar Himmat Khan decides to shoot the dog. What labels do soldiers give the dying dog? They label it martyr or traitor depending on sides. What does the dog symbolize at the end? The dog symbolizes the senselessness and absurdity of war. How do the Indian soldiers first treat the dog? They feed and take care of it, naming it Junjun. What do the Pakistani soldiers feed the dog? They feed it food, renaming it Shun Shun. What emotion do soldiers initially feel for the dog? Initially, soldiers from both sides feel affection for the dog. Why does the dog wander between the lines? The dog is confused and driven by both sides' actions. How do soldiers feel after shooting the dog? Both sides feel a sense of loss and emptiness. What drives the dog to cross the border? Hunger, and the soldiers' actions drive the dog across. Do the soldiers gain anything from the dog's death? No, they gain nothing. It highlights war's absurdity. What role does the dog play in the soldiers' lives? The dog serves as a brief distraction from war. How do the soldiers treat to convert the dog? They feed it, name it, and claim it symbolically. What becomes the soldier's primary concern regarding the dog? Its nationality becomes the overriding concern for both sides. Does the dog understand the soldier's intentions? No, the dog doesn't understand the political complexities. What happens after the dog's death? Soldiers from both sides reflect on the senseless loss. What does the dog find appealing on the Pakistani side? Food offered by Pakistani soldiers attract it. How do the soldiers on both sides treat the dog? Initially kindly, but later with hostility due to nationalism. What does the dog's shifting signify for the soldiers? It sparks territorial disputes and ideological conflict between them. Is there a resolution between the soldiers after the event? No, the story ends highlighting the senseless tragedy. What's the emotional impact of the dog's death? Soldiers feel emptiness and question the purpose of war. What triggers the soldiers to open fire at the dog? National pride and the desire to claim the dog. How does the dog respond to the soldiers' calls? It moves according to the most immediate incentives. What does the dog symbolize in the story? It symbolizes innocence caught in the web of conflict. How does the dog affect the morale of the soldiers? Initially boosts it, but eventually leads to demoralization. What do both sides use to attract the dog? Food, names, singing, music, etc. Why don't the soldiers let the dog stay neutral? Nationalism and territoriality compel them to claim it. Is the dog aware of the political boundaries? No, the dog is oblivious to the geopolitical lines. What's the immediate cause of the dog's death? Multiple bullets fired from both sides kill it. How do both sides try to justify shooting the dog? They see it as an object needed for national pride. Does the dog's death affect the ongoing conflict? No, it becomes a sad episode in an ongoing war. How does the dog initially appear? Stray and hungry, wanders into the Indian camp. What lesson do soldiers learn from the dog's death? The absurdity and futility of war is underscored. Is the dog initially afraid of the soldiers? No, it seems to trust them enough for food. How does the dog react to gunfire? Terrified, tries to seek shelter but gets killed. What's the overall tone of the story? Somber, highlights the absurdity of human conflict. Do any soldiers regret the dog's death? Yes, some soldiers question the senselessness of the act. Is the dog ever aggressive towards the soldiers? No, the dog shows no signs of aggression. Does anyone try to stop the shooting? No, the soldiers are caught in collective action. What's the dog's final resting place? It dies near the border, a victim of dispute. Does the story offer a solution to conflict? No, it only exposes the irrationality of war. What is the setting of the story? A disputed border region between India and Pakistan. Does the dog understand commands from both sides? Yes, it responds to calls and food from both. Are there any witnesses to the dog's death? Soldiers from both sides witness the tragic event. Thank you. Subscribe please.